Good afternoon, everyone, or whenever time it is that you're joining me here on the second of these kind of vlog updates, a video kind of blog, just to give you an update on what's happening in Ferryhill Kirk at the moment in these rather strange and unsettling times, with great concern as we have for plenty of folks around the world, around the UK. We're seeing daily the updates on the figures of people who've lost their lives, and it is very troubling indeed. So we keep all of those families that have lost loved ones in our prayers at the moment, and those who have folks they know who are unwell. It's very worrying, and certainly we know of some folks that have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and are going through, some of them, a really tough time at the moment trying to shake it. So we keep them all in mind. So first off, keep yourself safe. Remember the guidelines. Keep to those guidelines at a minimum. Some of the guidelines we've been given in the UK don't match what the World Health Organization is saying. So maybe keep an eye on what the World Health Organization is saying as well, because they're being a little bit more stringent, especially on 14 days rather than 7 days to give. That seems like quite a big difference from our UK government. So look at the advice where you can and bear it in mind. So I thought I'd just give you an update as we get to the end of the week. There will be the regular email updates that Julie prepares in the office. They're still going out. We'll have news there. If any of you are not on those, you can sign up to them. There's just a link on the homepage of the church website, and you just need to put in your email and name on there. It's all done through MailChimp is who we use, and you can always subscribe at any time. There's just a wee link at the bottom if you want to do that. But we're trying to get information out through that weekly as well. We've changed the hours for the church office, so Julie will be answering the phone if you need to contact between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday to Friday, so 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And Julie still very much as our church administrator, someone to use if you have any information, if any concerns about somebody or anything like that, confidentially you can share those, and we'll see what we can do to help. So just a reminder there, Julie is no longer in the church office, so she is working from home, but we have redirected the church phone, and it will be picked up between those hours, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Now, just keep that in mind as well, to keep in touch with folks. I'm sure you've been doing that already, but it is really important, and particularly think of people you think might be on their own, just to give them a wee call. I heard today when I was chatting to somebody how somebody just had been on the phone, but had been looking through the window to see them and just chatting on the phone, but also being able to wave from a safe distance while out on their walk. So whatever you can do just to keep in touch with one another, please do that. It's really important for all of our kind of mental well-being, because it's tough at the moment being on our own. In one of the conversations I had this week, we were talking about the knitting and the squares, and I was told, I've been busy knitting my squares for our community art project, and a few other folks have been asking, what do we do with the squares once we've knitted some? I've put a wheelie bin out at the front of the church, and there's labels on the wheelie bin saying it is specifically for the community art project, so for putting the knitted squares in. So if you have them in a bag, then pop them into that wheelie bin if you're out for a walk, and we'll collect them up in due course, and we'll have them put together for the kind of blankets with which we're going to yarn bomb trees around the community. So that wheelie bin is there outside Ferryhill Church at the moment. I'm hoping we might be able to get one down at South Holborn Church as well, so for folks down at that side of the city. Now, just to say a big thanks. We've had lots of emails through and comments coming through about what we're trying to do with keeping in touch with folks and having worship still going on in different ways, but trying to still maintain that. So thanks very much for all the positive comments. We're trying out some new things and seeing what works, and so that feedback from folks is really important to know what works and what doesn't work. So do keep that coming. It's really very much appreciated. On that note, if you are aware of somebody that you are in touch with and they might need a bit of help with, for instance, how to access YouTube, and if you have an old tablet that's available that you could maybe lend them, perhaps think about doing that as a way to keep people in touch. It's awkward, it's hard when we can't go around visiting folks and you kind of have to do things over the phone, but it's maybe something to think about. It's a conversation we've been having with the Cowdray Club, the care home next door to the church, in how we help and encourage folks there to still kind of have a connection and a sense of being part of a worshipping community there when we're unable to go into the care home. So we have managed to get an iPad, I think, linked up to YouTube. I'm really hoping that there might be a way of getting the big TV in their lounge also to show the services that we are doing. But in the meantime, we're going to help provide some resources for the team there at the Cowdray Club to be able to do something themselves. So trying to think how we can help one another through this in whatever way we can is really important. Which leads me on to this Sunday and Holy Week, which follows. So, we normally have quite a full program of different events, and they were all on the back of Parish News, all the services we were planning to do with our friends down at South Holborn Church over the course of the whole of Holy Week. Well, it's going to look a bit different this year, but we are still going to try and do a lot of the things that we were planning to do. It's going to be online. So we will have our Palm Sunday service on Sunday morning, which will be streamed on YouTube just as usual. But then each evening from the Sunday night of Palm Sunday through to Good Friday, we're planning to have an online gathering. Now, we're going to use a service that's called Zoom to do that. And we've used it for a few different things over the past couple of weeks. So we've had a chance to try it out, see what works and what doesn't work. And it works pretty well. Now, we have found, though, that it's easier for some people to get online than others using that. So what we're going to do, for those who can use Zoom and want to join in, and when you do that, it'll be participative in that we can chat together and speak about what's going on and speak about the passage that we're thinking about, maybe do a wee bit of kind of action together. That's the benefit of Zoom. It allows you to interact. But if you can't do that, but you do know how to kind of click a link and get onto the YouTube video, like for a Sunday morning, then we're going to stream it, the chat that's going on through the Zoom to YouTube as well. And it'll be basically live happening. It's just you won't be able to interact. So we're planning to do that for Sunday evening, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of Holy Week. We will try it and see. We're just trying everything we can, see what works, what doesn't work. And the more practice we have at doing this, we're definitely finding it becomes easier and more kind of second nature to use the technology in this way. On Easter morning, we'll have service at 11 a.m. So kind of the usual time on a Sunday morning for our Easter service. So keep that in mind, please. There may be a few other bits and bobs that we'll put up on the website or put up on YouTube kind of in between, but those are the core things that we are still trying to do. Now, there may be some other bits and bobs, as I say, that go up that are in relation to these things that are happening. So for Sunday evening, the Palm Sunday service, there is a wee template of a palm leaf that we're going to use. So if you've got a printer at home, you can go to the website and download that, print it out, cut it out. It's really easy to cut out, and we'll use that on Sunday evening when we come together. So there might be a few things like that over the course of the week. So keep an eye on the website or on the YouTube channel for these various things. We last couple of years we've used on Good Friday a labyrinth, which was called Faces and Places. And we have video that goes along with those, with some reflections. So it would be actually quite simple to put something up online that you could use at any time during Holy Week when you have a moment, or break it up and use a different part of that each day. And then you'd be able to do that at any time. So keep an eye on the website, because I might do something with that and put that up, make it available. Now, I'm also working with some of the Spill the Beans team and Fishy Music, and we're working to put something together that's really for kind of families, and that's all age oriented, that will be available for each day of Holy Week, from Sunday through this Sunday, Palm Sunday, all the way through to Easter Sunday. Again, I'll put a link to that once it's available on the church website. It'll be on Fishy Music's site and on the Spill the Beans blog as well. And there'll be a kind of separate piece for each day that will come out. So we're just preparing that at the moment. So it's kind of early days, but we do have a plan for that. So particularly if you've got families and want to do something that is related to the Easter story this week, this would be a good tool to use, a good resource to have available. Okay, those are some of the things that are happening kind of in church life around our worship and our support of one another. Just to let you know what's also happening with our community response and our kind of wider work that we're involved with and doing in partnership with some of our local neighbouring congregations. The team that we've been putting together of volunteers, that's really working well. We've got over, what are we now, 106 people who have signed up to be volunteers for the Riverside area. And that is really looking out for, not the complete crisis thing where, the electricity is getting cut off or something terrible like that. The council is going to be doing a lot of work there. But looking at more of the kind of simple, immediate needs, getting a bit of food, if prescriptions need to be picked up, just to have a chat on the phone, those kind of things. These folks have all volunteered to help out. And there are a number of different organisations that are kind of trying to coordinate either at a city level, Grampian level, or a kind of Scotland level. You might have heard about some of these that are going on with the emergency line that Aberdeen City Centre has. There's a new Grampian-wide response that's taking place, and the Scotland Cares website that is a route that folks can go to if they want to offer their service. We've got our details of our Riverside Community Response group all linked with those, so that if people are in our area and offering service, they'll be forwarded to us. And then as needs come in, if some of these folks hear about a need that's in our area, we'll be able to respond to those needs. We're working also with Inchgarth Community Centre down in Garthdee, and they've got a wee team together themselves, and so we're liaising with each other about our looking after folks that are within the Garthdee area, which is part of the whole of the riverside area. So that's really good. Response has been great, and I thank everyone that has responded to that. We are getting folks coming through and that are in need. Some of the needs are quite simple and straightforward at the moment, and as those needs are coming through, we're linking folks up to be able to support those needs. So it's something very tangible that we're able to do in this very difficult time. If you want to volunteer, then just get in touch with the church office with Julie, and you don't have to be out and about. This is something you can do from home, because some of it is just getting in touch with people and calling folks and just checking how they're doing. Simple stuff, but it's really important at this time. So that's what's going on there with that community response. Some of you have been asking about food and what's happening there, about whether we should be creating our own food parcels. We're not quite at that stage yet. If folks are looking for food, it's usually they can't get out to go and get it, so it's somebody to go and get the food, and they'll pay for it, and that's all fine. When it comes to kind of emergency situations where food parcels might need to go out, we are in touch with the likes of Instant Neighbour and are keeping kind of contact with them to see if there's more that we can do to help over the weeks that come. They are pretty stretched at the moment, with only a couple of staff on at any one given time. But we will be making available each week a time slot when the church, there'll be somebody at the church to receive any donations of food, and then we'll pass those on to Instant Neighbour. So keep an eye on the website for when that's going to be available. I think we'll maybe do it on a Wednesday and have a kind of an hour window or so when folks can drop off food. There's still a need for food, so if you're able to do that, that would be wonderful and a good way to support other folks. Right, I think that is a kind of update on where we are there. Oh, I should say on our community response, folks have been fantastic in trying to get in touch with as many households as possible. And we have circulated, I've just printed with Julie another 700 leaflets. That would take us over 7,000 households that we've been able to reach with a kind of contact point and some information, and also some ideas of things to do, which is where the yarn bombing idea is noted. So that's been really good, just to get that out to folks and know that there are people that are there that can assist if there is a need. And we'll see how that need develops over time. But please keep everyone in mind, and keep each other in your thoughts and your prayers at this moment. It's really important that we try and stick together as much as we can, even if we're only in our own places when we do so. I'll leave you at that stage, and we will be joining for worship on Sunday morning. The sermon is already recorded and, as they say, in the can. There's still a few other bits to work on, but they'll come in due course. So I look forward to sharing with you in that worship on Sunday morning. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.